Lily, are you ready to confess?
Oh, okay, sure.
What's your business name?
I own Flowers by Lily Garland.
I like that. And then how did you get into floristry?
Well, I guess that sounds a little obvious given my name. But that was not why. That was a coincidence. I always wanted to work for myself. I worked in marketing and sales for a bunch of different companies in LA. Disney, Belkin, started really getting into the entrepreneurial thing and working for small startups later on in my career. And I kind of came to the conclusion that the happiest people in their work life balance are the people that do like whatever they gravitated to as a kid. So like
Mm.
whatever you naturally like just wanted to do all the time when you had no rules and were a child is if you can do that in your profession, you're going to be super happy. So I was totally an arts and crafts girl. So after coming up with the idea that I was a completely useless human and had no contribution to society, I came up with the idea to start a floral design company. So I have a bachelor's degree in economics and a minor, almost a major in art, minor, almost a major in Chinese as well. So I actually went back to community college. The community college near me in LA had a whole floral design associate's degree program. So, I like to say I started the business with like $250, right? I signed up for a class and I was like, okay, worst case scenario, I get like 8 or 10 flower arrangements for $250, totally worth it, right? So I signed up for the class, did an Instagram, started taking pictures of my work, and people started asking me if I did this, and I told them I definitely did. So yeah, that's how my business started and grew from there. I've been in Coeur d'Alene now for about 5 years. I moved my business up here. So I do weddings anywhere within 2 hours of my home, basically. So Coeur d'Alene, Spokane, surrounding area.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I know that it's kind of like a trend to move here, but what inspired you to move here?
It was COVID and we were locked down, and my boyfriend at the time was like, I want to move to Coeur d'Alene. And I was like, Coeur de what? Never heard of it. He had come through here on a road trip and he was like, okay, well, at that point in time, I think there's different points in everyone's business where, um, some they start side hustle nights and weekends and you move towards full time, which I am now. But at that time, I was a full time job that I called in sick to a lot. And he said, call in sick Monday and Friday, like you always do. And worst case scenario, you've gone on a vacation and I'll never bring it up again. And so we came up here and just kind of started picturing what our life would be if we made that change, if we made that move. And just the pace of life we wanted. We're kind of looking at getting married, having kids in the future, obviously. And, um, I can't imagine my life in LA, at this point in time with my son. We can go to all the public parks here. It's beautiful. He loves the snow. So it's been amazing for both of all three of us, I guess. and the two pups.
Yes. Well, in Coeur d'Alene, I feel like anytime I've been there, it's just magnetic almost. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we
It's
love it up here. I mean, I grew up in Baltimore, so, I'm used to 4 seasons. I like all the seasons. Winter gets a little bit long sometimes for me, but right now I'm still enjoying it. I'm planning on an escape in February.
oh good.
But yeah, we are super happy. It was probably one of the best, most spontaneous decisions we've ever made. Yeah.
I love that. Kind of getting into wedding stuff, in trends in general. What is a trend that you wish would disappear?
Pampas grass.
I get that one. I understand.
I think I did this trend twice. So as much as I love North Idaho, we're not as on top of things as in LA. So when I was in LA, I was doing the pampas grass trend, and then I moved up here and it was still in. I'm so sick of it. It like
Yeah.
shreds too. You gotta like hairspray those things. Like I'm over it. I'm over it.
Have you done any lately? Because I feel like it's been pretty much like,
It is fizzling out. I will give it that. I did one this season with a lot of dried and preserved elements. I have this theory about pampas grass. So I think that when COVID hit and a lot of places, not Coeur d'Alene, but a lot of places shut down, flower shops were like, "Oh my gosh, what do we sell? Our flowers are gonna die." So
Wow.
they moved to this, like, preserved and dried elements thing, like pampas grass, right? Where they would make, like, dry bouquets and stuff like that because they didn't know who was coming to get flowers. But it came back to Idaho after, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm over it.
Yeah,
So I
I
did have
think
one this year that won at Pampas Grass. Some of the mini elements I don't mind as much, I think are nice, like the bunny tails, or like I had a bride that was getting married near a wheat field that wanted like dried wheat in hers. I thought that was really pretty and really indicative of the region. Yeah, I'm over Pampas Grass though.
I get that. What's a trend that you're loving right now?
Color. I'm a big
Yeah.
color girl. Yeah, so I love the kind of, like, local blooms, like, the girls call it wildflower style, but,
Mm.
like, they're not really wildflowers. They're just colorful and less traditional and less what you would see in a flower shop, so not your carnations, not your roses or alstroemeria or pom-poms, like, you're seeing, like, the cosmos, the ranunculus, the lisianthus, and I could go on, but more the kind of organic, locally grown anything with dahlias, peonies, I'm in love with too.
Peonies are my fave. I tried to grow, a peonies
Mhm.
plant, and, it had 1 flower, and somewhere on the internet, I saw that if you cut off the flower, more will grow, like, faster. I don't know. It never grew another flower.
No, they have to get bigger over years, though, so you just gotta be
Okay.
patient. Yeah.
Okay, good. I still have it. It's still
Okay.
alive. It just never bloomed again.
There's one where I live, it's I'm 12 minutes from Coeur d'Alene, but it feels very rural. So I'm 12 minutes from Coeur d'Alene, but it feels
Like,
rural.
Rathdrum area?
No, it's technically Coeur d'Alene still. I'm 12
Okay.
minutes from, like, downtown Coeur d'Alene, but I have no landscaping, TMI. But in the middle of my yard, not associated with any sort of positioning, there's one peony bush. And every year I do nothing for this peony bush. The previous owners must have planted it, but every year it grows and it blooms. And I forget about it until I'm like, what's that burgundy thing in the middle of my yard? Anyway, so every year it's grown more. It goes from like 1 to 3 to 5.
What is something that you see behind the scenes that couples wouldn't normally recognize?
What do you mean by recognize? Like wouldn't normally like see
Like
or wouldn't normally.
yeah, see or just understand the workload that really goes into your job.
I mean, I think, we're one of the few vendors at a wedding where we show up and we drop off our flowers and we leave. We typically aren't, unless we're doing install work, we're not designing most of it on site. So I don't think they see how much energy goes into processing flowers, taking care of your flowers, like arranging the flowers in the days leading up to your wedding. They just see like us drop off and leave the day of and it just magically happens. So like a typical week for me is like Wednesdays, I would get my flowers and I would spend pretty much the whole day like getting them and then like also processing them. So like you have to cut the bottoms of the stems off. They kind of close up with the air so they can rehydrate, take leaves off to kind of maintain them and maintain their life. So that's Wednesday. Typically, then Thursday and Friday, it's all day designing for the weddings too. And then Saturday, we get up, we might finish a couple odds and ends here or there, but we're mainly just delivering. And so I think they miss everything that doesn't happen on Saturday, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well, what's the difference between being a luxury vendor versus just being an expensive vendor?
Well, I think that whatever your price, you have to deliver that value, right? So if you're expensive or too expensive, you didn't deliver the value, right? Whereas
Yeah.
if you're luxury, you spent a lot, but you got a lot, right?
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
yeah,
What's kind of a misconception couples find with you and your price point or your industry?
I don't think I'm the most expensive florist out there. I think I'm fairly priced. And I think the way that most couples don't know this, but the way that you price flowers in the floral industry is you have you buy roses in 25, for example, right? And there's a price. And you take that price, you divide it by 25. So you have a price per stem. And then I'm going to mark up my price per stem. So then I have a recipe with roses and alstroemeria and ranunculus and whatever else. And I, you know what I mean, spit out a price from there. So there is actually like a lot of math that goes into like delivering that value to my end customer. And I don't think, I've got spreadsheets I've built and all that stuff.
Yeah.
don't think it's a lot of a science rather than, like, me being like, it sounds right,"
Mhm.
and then there's, like, the perceived value, right? Like, if you take a dozen roses and you spread them out really big, it looks like you delivered more, whereas if you cut their stems off really short and you deliver a compact arrangement, it might not look like as much. So I think a lot of couples don't realize, I guess, how much science, how much math goes into it, but also, like, little things that we can do to make it look like we're delivering more, even though it's costing us the same thing and we're really delivering the same, dozen roses in, like, how we design and in their design choices too.
I think that makes a lot of sense because, a lot of, like, the online comments I see that people are confused at, like, why people can't just post the price, and it's things like floristry that's,
Mhm.
like, highly customizable, and it's
Yeah,
not just one price fits all that
totally.
you can't just post that, but I think that there's not anybody talking about it in
Yeah.
this kind of way, so I feel like it's hard for people to understand what
It's
really goes into
interesting you kinda asked me about price. I literally the past week, I have been, like, diving in, making this new, like, pricing and services guide for my clients to better articulate what we do and what to expect. It's always been something I've struggled with because the groom's like, "Well, what do wedding flowers cost? I've never gotten married before." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to order? Because I don't even know how many bridesmaids you have."
Mhm.
So there's, like, this whole range of prices. Like, I do some events that are 300, 350, and it's an elopement. We have a really cute little elopement place in Coeur d'Alene called Fly the Coop, and all I got was a bridal bouquet and a boutonniere, and
Mm.
starts at 300, let's say. I do some weddings and events that are, 5 figures, and, they're doing centerpieces for all the tables, that sort of thing. Realistically, those are the outliers. So I used to give my couples kind of this guide that breaks it down like, hey, this is like a range for your bridal bouquet. This is a range for your bridesmaids bouquets. This is generally what boutonnieres run. Like, this is your centerpiece ranges, that sort of thing. And then they kind of had to add it up. I actually just worked on changing that guide into like a pricing and services guide, talking about like my invitation process, my process of meeting with the brides, like developing their vision and developing what they really want. But it also kind of outlines it into, I wanna call it, like, good, better, best, but, like, 5 different categories, right, where you can see, okay, this the lowest is just the bridal bouquet and the boutonniere, and this is the range you're gonna end up in. The highest has, like, full centerpieces, this, like, fully covered arbor, an installation piece, and this is the range you're gonna end up with, and realistically, most people kinda end up in my middle 2 columns depending if they want full centerpieces or they're gonna use, like, lanterns or something that their venue provides, but just really kind of trying to outline my process for working with you to customize a quote, customize a design, but also, be fair to you and your time and mine too, and try to give you an idea of what to expect when you work with me upfront.
I think that's really important because, like you said, I don't feel like people are even willing to give, like, just baseline numbers. Like,
Yeah.
you have to obviously clarify that these are baseline numbers, it's not
Mhm.
gonna be the exact thing. As a couple who's never done this before, they don't know what to expect to build their budget or
Mhm.
whatever else, so
Mhm.
I think that's really important,
Yeah, totally. It's not easy. I've been working hard on it.
and I'm sure that your couples will appreciate it.
Hopefully, yeah.
What is an instant green flag from couples that you know that the wedding will go smoothly? Or, like, the whole process, like, not just the
Oh,
wedding
like the
itself?
design process? I would say if I know they've hired a coordinator,
Mm.
it'll generally go very smoothly the day of. And then I would say definitely a green flag is, I have a specific process because I do enough weddings each year, that each one is custom, but you do have to like schedule an appointment with me, fill out a questionnaire, right? Get your ideas together. I'm also going to spend an hour and a half, before we meet coming with my ideas and looking over what you sent me and stuff. Um, but being able to follow the process, I don't know if that makes sense, so that
Yeah.
I have all my notes, I have all my ducks in a row, but I can do this 50, 100 times over every year and like do it consistently.
Mhm.
So I'd say that's definitely like a red flag. If they can't figure it out, I struggle a little bit sometimes, I'll be honest.
Yeah. No, I get it. Even, like, on my side of things, I've
Mhm.
built, like, pretty strict structures for the
Mhm.
magazine,
Yep.
and when people wanna go outside of that, I have to, like, remind myself, I'm like, "It's not that big of a deal," like, but It is at the same time because I want it to flow in the structure,
Totally. I was
and
totally checking out your emails and your process and your download links and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed.
thank you.
Yeah.
It takes like you said, it takes a lot of work on the front end, but then I feel like it's just a much smoother, experience for
Mhm,
both parties
mhm.
once you kinda get that going.
Totally, totally.
So, I don't know if this really you see this a lot, but I feel like a lot of vendors have this not a lot of vendors, okay, I'm gonna start over. I feel like vendors and brides, one of the biggest, conflicts is when brides wanna micromanage vendors.
Mhm.
What do you think that really stems from?
So I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
I got a bride for you. And she's not your typical bride, it's second marriage. I only know that she was in her 60s because she told me so. But when we showed up the day of her wedding to drop off her flowers, it was at the Davenport, really nice hotel in Spokane. We're like, okay, what's your room number so we can drop off your bouquet and the personal items for she didn't order a ton, just a bouquet and a flower crown for her granddaughter.
Mm.
And we're like, what's your room number? And she's like, oh, I'll be downstairs supervising setup. Lo and behold, she's in the venue supervising setup. She's not getting her makeup done. She's not getting dressed. She is micromanaging, putting centerpieces in the center of table. That was a one-off. Normally, they're getting ready, like they should be and spending time with friends and family and enjoying their day like they should be because that's the priority there, right?
Right.
Um, that was definitely a one-off, but, I don't I don't know, I think, some people are truly passionate about their day and, maybe they just I felt like she kinda just went around it in the wrong way, like, maybe she was nervous or anxious, right? And so instead of, being nervous and anxious and enjoying the moments and planning to spend the time with her friends and family, she was trying to make everything perfect. I'm not sure, but that was a one-off.
I wonder if her first wedding wasn't not the marriage, but, the
Yeah.
first wedding, I wonder if either a lot went wrong or I guess it wasn't what she pictured, so she was
It sounded like it was a long marriage. He passed away, something earlier on,
okay.
earlier than expected. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The reality and the tough part about I spend all this time with my couples planning is that the reality is when we show up that day, if you're like, "Oh, no, I want it purple and not blue," I mean, there's not very much we can do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
flowers, we arranged them, and little things of course, we'll take care of, but if you decide "Oh, I actually didn't like that flower and I wanted this flower," it's really tough, we're kinda on the
Yeah.
spot? So, um, going through that planning process is really important, and, we have, a double check process where we'll do a call 2 months before and kinda go through again and just, make sure your vision hasn't changed at all because it's tough the day of if it has.
Do you have any other crazy wedding stories?
Not as many as you would think because I get to hear those crazy stories afterwards from, the planners and the venues and stuff because we drop off and we're not there during the actual wedding, but that one
Yeah.
was a crazy one for sure.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, because like you said, you're supposed to be enjoying your day, and what's the point in having all of this if you're
Mhm.
just gonna be not in the moment and just focused on I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kinda tell my couples, "We're probably not gonna talk." I mean, we'll say hi, it's not like we're antisocial, but we're probably not gonna talk to you, during your wedding day because as much as we like you,
Yeah.
you're not we're not who you wanna be hanging out with,
Right.
you know what I mean? You spend it with your loved ones by all means? Our goal when we deliver and set up is just to make it happen as smoothly as possible. We're gonna put the toss bouquet by the cake because that's when you're gonna do it, right? So you're not contacting us, you're not looking for stuff. It's we teach the guys to put the boutonnieres on, we put the boutonnieres where the guys get ready, we take the bouquets to the girls, and basically put everything else out. But our job is to make it as seamless and magical and lacking communication as
Well,
possible? Go hang out with your friends and family, go hang out with your loved ones. This is just gonna magically happen.
and I think that's important because I feel like brides are constantly especially if they don't have a planner, they're constantly being almost bothered by multiple people throughout the day, and I've seen it firsthand, in photography. There's just because you follow them around all day,
Mhm.
and the amount of people that just come up to them for little things,
Mhm.
it's I understand, and I understand that you think it's a little thing, but she's been interrupted 5 times in the last, like, 2
Mhm.
minutes.
Mhm.
So, it's 1, hire a planner, but
Yes.
2, I think it's important to for vendors, not just vendors specifically, but for people to have that, awareness of
Mhm.
they don't wanna hang out with you.
No, you shouldn't wanna hang out with us, like, let's be honest, like, just
Yeah,
we're just gonna magically do our job, and
yeah.
that's the goal.
Yes,
It's just gonna happen.
yes. What's the wildest request you actually said yes to? Or you can tell one that you said no to.
Oh gosh, I got asked to make a weed bouquet once. I said, "No, it's not really my jam," and it was also I mean, it is illegal in Idaho, but I was in California, so it was illegal in California at the time I got asked, and I was like, "Not gonna happen." I mean, it'd be one thing if it
Yeah.
wasn't legal, like, it was legal or something, but,
Mhm.
yeah, I got asked to make a weed bouquet once. That I said no to.
Alright,
Yeah.
alright. Well, we're like, I have so many questions now. Were they gonna supply it, or did they expect you to get it?
I got inspiration pictures of it.
That's
I have actually no idea, but they were, like, legit bouquets of flowers with the greenery as, like, weed leaves. I don't even know if I'm using that right. I'm probably not a pothead over here, but yeah.
alright. That's 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 I don't even know.
Yeah. You didn't see that one
People
coming, right?
no. And that's why I love asking, like, these questions
Yeah.
because most of the time you're not gonna get anything, but the one time, like, you do and it's something like that, it's like,
Yep, yep.
that's yeah, that's weird. What's a boundary you now enforce because of one specific couple?
What's a what I now enforced?
A boundary.
Oh, I think you know when you had a tough ride, when you, like, rewrite your contract and you're like, "That's not happening again." You know what I mean? So I had one couple the bride was wonderful, it was the bride's mom. The bride's mom was a
It's
stay-at-home
never
mom, empty
it's
nester.
never the
And
couple.
what?
It's never the couple that's the problem child.
No, she was wonderful. Anyway, bride's mom had a totally different vision for the wedding than her. She was like glitz and glam Orange County. Bride was like country forest Spokane, and they got married on the river up at, gosh, what's it called? It's a camp, like a kid's summer camp is where she picked out to get married with like
In Idaho?
and stuff in Idaho. Yeah. Clearly the daughter picked this venue, but mom wanted sparkles, and all the daughter wanted was a braid and sunflowers. And I swear I did. It had to have been 7 or 8 hour-long phone calls with the mom just on the centerpiece design. So I kind of had to set boundaries with the expectations on how many times I'm going to redesign it and rework it, right? And define in my contract what's considered a redesign. So, like, if you talk to me by your wedding, and you're like, I need one more centerpiece. It's the same recipe. I'm not redesigning, right? Or if you're like, hey, I need to add aisle markers, same ingredients, I'm not redesigning it. But if you come back and you're like, well, instead of sunflowers, I actually want purple and maroon, I'm going to have to redesign it. So, kind of setting those boundaries and expectations in my contract. The wedding was beautiful. She had
Alright.
the mom and daughter compromised. She had white sunflowers, which are light yellow and not white, but light, very light pastel colors, and it was very beautiful and kind of the perfect Orange County country forest mix.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
feel like Idaho's in such a weird, like, stage where there's people coming here to have, like, these super expensive luxe weddings.
Mhm.
They're not hiring, like, any Idaho vendors, they're just, like, just using Idaho. But then on the other side of the spectrum, it's just, like, just country kids getting married.
Well, the daughter lived here. The
Okay,
mom
yeah,
lived in Orange County, so but yes, you do get a little bit of that, but the daughter was clearly choosing to live here.
I get that. It's crazy. 'Cause, I guess where that stems from is I'm doing, a poll or survey to, like, kinda get more of an idea on the Idaho wedding industry because I
Mhm.
don't feel like there's anything out there, and, I asked brides, I'm like, "What was your overall budget?" And literally the pie chart is um, like, there's stuff in the middle, but then,
Mhm.
like, overall it's over 50,000 or under 10,000.
Okay.
Like, it's either all or
That's the
nothing.
majority.
Yeah, and I'm like, "What
That's
a
awesome.
wild spread."
That totally fits with what I've been doing. I mean, a lot of florists have a minimum. I don't, because I can usually handle doing just one more bouquet and one more boutonniere, and I have a team, so I do multiple weddings in a weekend and stuff. But yeah, that it makes sense to me because of the range of price points my brides last year,
Yeah. It's crazy. What's something that made you say never again?
Again.
It's kinda like that same last thing that we just talked about, so if you don't
Yeah,
have anything,
but I don't think I have a never again.
that's okay.
I have a how am I gonna do this different and better next time, and how am I gonna, like, set those
Yeah.
expectations,
Do you
so
wanna do that?
yeah, the rewriting, same answer. It's
Oh,
rewriting contract. I'm like,
okay.
"Nope, making rules for you."
Yes. What's the most entitled thing somebody's ever said to you?
I don't chat with brides all that much on their wedding day. It's not
Well,
that
it
I
doesn't have to be a bride. It could be a mother or
yeah.
anybody adjacent.
I think the one request I get that might come across that way a little bit, so I have a team, and I'm doing a better job of presenting that in all of my marketing material on my website, that sort of thing. So, um, there's been as many of 14 of us. Uh, and so occasionally I will get a bride that figures out before her wedding that I am not doing everything on my own
Okay.
and that we're a bigger company, and they kind of freak out, and then they like aggressively insist that I personally show up to deliver their bridal bouquet, which to me it doesn't make all that much sense because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, if you like me and you want me, don't you want me like supervising and managing the design process and
Yeah.
that aspect, not just showing up to put the centerpieces on the table, right?
Yeah.
Um, so every once in a while, it hasn't been as frequent since I've done a better job at, presenting my team and stuff like that. But every once in a while, I get the bride that's like, you must come to my wedding and you must personally hand me my bouquet. Okay.
Alright. But even though it's literally just, like, you've already done all the work on the back end or, like, you've supervised it on the back
Yeah.
end,
It,
it's literally just
yes. That's the point that they're insistent on. So it doesn't make a ton of logical sense. I mean, on the flip side too, I get people who assume it's me, myself, and I. And there are plenty of weekends it's me, myself, and I designing in the studio, don't get me wrong. And they're like, well, what happens if you're sick? And I'm like, well, it's probably not me delivering your wedding flowers anyway. It's probably one of my girls. And if they're sick, I'm probably the backup plan.
yeah.
So you're getting your flowers.
Yeah. Like, don't and I think that's, the important thing of hiring, like, true vendors and not just
Mhm.
hobbyists because they've done this, they've got a plan, they're
Mhm.
professional about it,
Yeah.
like, they have backups on backups on backups,
Mm.
like,
Yeah.
you are getting what you paid for.
Yes.
Versus, like, a hobbyist, I've noticed is like, "Yeah, that sucks."
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Totally.
just from what I've seen online.
Yeah.
What did you have to unlearn in order to become profitable?
That I want every person and every bride and every wedding. I think that was really tough for me to learn how to say no or accept no or um I'm really passionate about the business and growing and all of that. And at, some point, if you double your prices and get half the amount of business, your costs are half the amount. So you're actually making more money. But there's also a point where you grow too fast and it's uncomfortable and you're working at midnight in your studio and stuff. And so you have to value your time once you get to that point. And what that means is that like every couple and every couple's budget expectations aren't gonna match what's necessarily fair for your time, your talent, your investment in the learning that you've had in the past and that sort of thing. Because I'm really passionate and I just wanna do everyone's wedding. So, yeah, that took me a little while to learn, and there's a bride I talked to a little bit ago, and, I didn't think her quote was anything crazy. I think it was maybe 1,200 in total, including centerpieces, which were bud vases, so pretty light, nothing crazy on the personal items. And she, I felt like we really hit it off and she's really nice. We follow up on her quote and she's like, listen, like I just booked the Fort Sherman Chapel that's run by the Museum of North Idaho. So it's kind of a nonprofit, and for my ceremony, and I booked Meadowbrook Hall, which is the community center in my neighborhood for my reception. Well, I happen to know that I think Fort Sherman is like 200 or 400 for your ceremony, depending on how long you need it and that sort of thing. Meadowbrook Hall, $60 for anybody in the neighborhood to book as much as they want all year. So I'm like, I might not be, you might be a DIY bride. I might not be, your what you want, and how
Yeah.
you want to go about this for your wedding. And, you know, it, it just might not be your priority in terms of how you spend. Everyone's got a limited budget, but how you spend your finances and what's important to you for your wedding day and how much, you want to put into it. But it also doesn't make it worth it for me to be like, oh, I'll do it for free, which is
Yeah.
what I want to say too, because I want every wedding.
Yeah.
But, she might not have been our customer, and that's okay.
Well, and I think it's really important, and everybody I feel like says this till they're blue in the face, but I don't think anybody truly understands what it means, is understanding your audience and
Mhm.
understanding like who your ideal client is. And I know that it is uncomfy, but like you do need to sit down and figure out what that looks like. And that, like you said, you don't have to take every wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I got this question from grooms, right? Not the brides, but the grooms, a lot. They're like, "I don't understand. I can go to the grocery store and I can buy a bouquet for
Right.
$15. Why is the bridal bouquet more than $15?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you." And, first you get into, like, the types of flowers, the care that goes into them. Like, I'm getting them super fresh, I'm getting the cream of the crop, I'm taking all these precautions with them. Where grocery store flowers, I mean, I, as a florist, can look at them and tell the wear and tear and how much they've traveled and that sort of thing. But I always tell them too, it's a service on some level, right? So, like, you can go to the grocery store, and I tell the grooms this, you can go to the grocery store and buy a steak for 10, $15, right? Or you can go to a steakhouse in the same restaurant, and they're gonna serve you a really nice cut of steak. They're gonna make it with their special sauce, put all the sides on it, set the ambiance and the table, and they're gonna charge you 50 or $100 for that steak, right? It's a service. Like, I'm not producing the flowers magically, I'm not a grower. My service is designing, putting them together, sourcing the high quality product, the right flowers, not the pom-poms at the grocery store, the carnations that are half dead, the actual ones that are alive in the right quantities and nice colors and, the expensive ones. And, it's at the base of it, it's a service, and it doesn't cost $15, unfortunately, for a bridal bouquet.
Yes. Well, and I feel like just something else that they probably don't understand is like we don't want a grocery store one because there's obvious visual differences.
Sometimes the
And
grams don't get it. They really
no,
don't.
they're
I'm
like
telling you.
flowers are flowers.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. But yes, there are obvious visual
Yeah.
differences.
I
Yeah.
saw somebody, it was a long time ago, so I don't even know what it was, but it was a reel, and it was something, I think it was probably like cars. And it was like showing grooms like this bouquet is this car.
Yes,
And
that one.
then teared up, and I was like,
Yes.
"Yes." And I didn't know that they didn't see it that way,
Yeah.
but I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yes." Let's see. What's a hill you will die on about weddings?
Do you know what I hate? This they do this in Idaho, and it drives me nuts, and it has nothing to do with me. And you have to tell me if they do this in Southern Idaho, if it's just like a
Okay.
Coeur d'Alene thing. The venues think it's acceptable to buy half the number of chairs. So if their guest count is 200, they'll buy 200 chairs. They'll set them up for the ceremony, and then the DJ will be like, "Move your chair to the reception." I cannot
Oh,
stand it. So the
yeah.
venue doesn't have to buy 400 chairs. They make the guests move the chairs, and
Yes.
I can't. Do they do that in Southern Idaho?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh my gosh. I can't
Yeah.
stand that.
No, it's like, you shouldn't have to make people work on your wedding day, that's a little tacky.
I
Not I'm saying the couples,
always
but I'm just
feel.
saying, like, they're
Yeah,
paying you thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one I'm not. That one, yeah, I'm not over it.
What's one boundary every vendor needs?
I think their time, just
Yeah.
preserving your time and your investment and that sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah. What's your one rule for surviving wedding season?
for sure. And I think just staying focused on this weekend, making sure I staff appropriately, asking for help when I need it.
Yeah.
Especially with a little guy that's gotten a little more demanding and challenging. There's another, factor in play there, so yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
They're
Plus, you
not
get sick in
kidding.
the middle of wedding season, all of a sudden I lost my kid care, and you're like, "Oh my gosh." So, I think asking for help, make
Yeah,
staff to
that's really
really
important.
yeah.
But they're also not kidding, like, once they turn 2, it's a completely different ballgame.
Oh,
Okay, next one, we're gonna do lightning round. You just say the answer only, no explanation.
okay.
Okay, so it's like this or that.
Okay.
Ceremony or reception?
Reception.
First look or no first look?
No first look.
Indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor.
Buffet or plated?
Played it.
Band or DJ?
Band.
A champagne tower or sparkler exit?
Champagne all the way.
Okay, so sorry, I have to go on a little bit of this. For Idaho specifically, like midsummer weddings, and I don't know if like because the climate is just a little bit different. Like I think you
Mhm.
guys are what 10 degrees cooler, but I feel like it gets sticky and bugs and just gross in the middle of the summer.
I think only July here.
Okay.
Yeah, like, so, like, July, I wouldn't use hydrangeas because it's too sticky and hot for them,
Mhm.
but I think most of my weddings June's definitely my most popular month, and September, so as long as you're not doing a July wedding, I don't know that it is that sticky here normally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like we also have like a lot of dairy farms down here, so there's just a ton of bugs.
Okay.
It's just gross.
As long as the winters are cold enough up here, we're good on the bed front.
That's good. Okay, biggest wedding day ick in one word or one sentence.
Not having enough chairs.
Yes. What should couples splurge on first?
They're guests, and that
Mm,
can be done in a lot of different ways. Um, I learned recently, I heard somebody say that the ceremony is about the couple and your vows and you guys in the moment and everyone's sitting there watching you, but the reception is about all the people who care about you and who drove or flew from miles away. So, really bringing in something special, whether it's like, a full tablescape down the corner, an installation piece to take pictures in front of, or bringing in a photo booth or a band instead of a DJ. Just really bringing in like that extra personal touch. Splurging on your guests, I think is important because 'cause they're coming for you and showing you love.
yeah. Well, and then, like, it's awkward during cocktail hour when you're out taking pictures and they're just, like, sitting there, like, twiddling their thumbs, like, "What do I do?" Um, what should couples cut without hesitation?
Welcome gifts, I hate them.
Yes.
I hate them. Y they
Yes,
spend a lot
nobody takes them.
on 'em, I mean, I think they're spending $20, $25 a person, but, like, you might use, like, 2 or 3 things from the whole thing. I
Yeah.
think it's a waste
Or
of money. Yeah,
nobody takes them.
totally, or you get 'em delivered to the hotel and they're like, "Oh, okay, great." I don't believe in the welcome gifts. I mean, the little personal place setting stuff, I think that's really sweet, or a note or a picture of you with the bride and groom, like, at each place setting, like, so you know where each sit or whatever. Totally, but the generic everyone gets the same bag of goodies delivered to the hotel no, skip.
Yeah, I agree. One sentence of real advice that every couple needs to hear.
I would say choose how you're gonna spend your day.
Uh,
Spend it with the people you love, and enjoying that. It's one of the few times in your life that, like, everyone you know and like is in the same spot for most
yeah,
people. So really focusing on that and as what's important from the day.
yeah. I like that. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Do you have anything upcoming exciting that you wanna shameless plug?
Oh gosh, come see me at the bridal shows in January. The Spokane and Events Bridal Expo is at the Doubletree Hotel on the 3rd of January. Tammy Schneider's got her show the following weekend, and we'll have a booth at the Sway Show. And then Tammy Schneider's is the 10th, and then the Post Falls Bridal Tour will have a booth out on the 17th. And then Inspire's show is Sunday the 25th. Come see us.
Alright, and then where can they find you?
Sure. My website is www.lilygarland.com. Lily like the flower, Lily. Garland like the flower, Garland. And then my social media is at Flowers by Lily Garland.
Well,
Cool.
thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.